Hello and welcome back to the Football Martin channel. Welcome back to the Football Martin studio. Thank you for joining me. It's Saints news today. There's loads to be reacting on, and I'm going to be reacting to all the latest Saints news. There's been quite a bit over the last 24 hours. I'm going to deep dive into that. And tomorrow I'm joined on the channel by Gab Sutton. He is an EFL expert. I'm going to be talking to him about the Championship, and we're going to be talking about Danny Rohl as well. He's a very, very knowledgeable pundit in the game, journalist. He is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to Gab Sutton joining me. Some of you may already know him from the content that he creates. He's on BBC a lot these days as well. Great show coming up. That will be out tomorrow evening. The content will be coming thick and fast in the coming days as we build up towards that game against Liverpool at the weekend. Before we do kick off this show today, I just want to shout it out there that I do have YouTube memberships available from £1.99, so it's only £2. It's really good value. You get some exclusive content, you get player ratings. I'm going to be adding more features to it as well, more behind the scenes at matches that I go to. I'm off to Liverpool the weekend as well. I'm going to do Around the Ground as well. I'm going to do it as exclusive for my YouTube and Patreon members. So if you are a YouTube member already, thank you very much indeed. I'm also looking for some sponsorship on the channel as well. I'm looking to kick the channel onto the next level. It'll be very difficult to do it on my own. So I am looking for anybody that wants to get involved in the channel. Just drop me a DM, and if you want to get involved, some serious numbers. We're hitting a lot of eyeballs now, so it will be great to get you involved. Or if you know anybody that wants to get involved, put them my way. Right, let's get into today's Saints news here on the channel. Lots to talk about, and the big talking point is around that tweet that was shared last night by Jack Rosser, who's a very well-respected journalist within the game. He does a lot of work with The Sun, but seems like to me he's broken a bit of Saints news over the last year, and he's never usually wrong, to be quite honest. He spoke about the Southampton manager, Ivan Juric, and it looks certain that he said that the two parties will part in the summer. This has come out now. He said that Southampton will part ways with him, whether Juric up till now has seemed like he wants to stay on. So how he's feeling now with all this speculation, there won't be a press conference till Thursday, Friday. Be interested to see what he's got to say in it. But all this is out in the mainstream media, and they're already talking about who that replacement's going to be and who is at the top of the Southampton list when it comes to managers. And no surprise on who it is. A man that we all thought we may have got back in the Christmas time, wasn't it? Just before Christmas, when Russell Martin was sacked, Danny Rohl. He was heavily linked. All the Southampton fans wanted him. And this was a tweet that was put out last night. It's believed that no matter what happens, Juric will not be the Southampton manager next season. Southampton are very much in for Danny Rohl, and they will pay less than £3.5 million this summer for his services, because it's reported that as a Championship club going in for him, the release clause is a little bit less than what it is as a Premier League club. It is reported that it was £5 million upwards, and Southampton were put off by that, reportedly, back in December. But I also think that maybe Rohl wanted to stay at Sheffield Wednesday and see the season out. I'm glad he didn't take it back in December, because it was always a poison chalice to take on. It was always somebody to take it on a caretaker basis or somebody on an interim basis, in my opinion. And Juric is just a fool guy for it, in my opinion now. I don't see him staying beyond this season. Look, if he'd come in and made a real impact and we'd seen a real change, we might have been looking at him for next season. But we haven't seen anything. We've seen nothing to suggest that he's a manager that could get us playing football and winning us games in the Premier League or in the Championship, in my opinion. I don't like his style. And there's this other tweet that's been shared as well, that the Southampton players do not like Ivan Juric. They feel his approach to going into games is strange. No shock there. And they do not like his overall managerial style. And the body language of the players for a long period of time now has suggested that. The one thing that Juric has done for me is shown a few of the players up for their work rate and some of their attitudes. I give him, he's pulled that out, because you can see there's a few now with bad attitudes. And I think the club needs a massive clear out now. I spoke about it a lot on the channel over the last couple of weeks. They need a massive clear out. Carrying on with this Danny Rohl story and him looking to be the replacement. This tweet was put out today by by somebody said that's doing Sheffield Wednesday news. I don't know how respectable this tweet is, but it's had a lot of shares, it's had a lot of likes, and it's called Manager Update. Sheffield Wednesday fan, Sheffield Wednesday news. 3 very reliable sources have now told this guy, not me, Rohl has gone. No turning back no matter what happens for the rest of the season. He's the Southampton manager when they are relegated. He will probably remain with Sheffield Wednesday, but that depends on how things play out, which is interesting. A very sad day, one of the best managers in my time, said this Sheffield Wednesday fan. He should have been a legend, but we just don't have the structure in place to reach the goals. Not the owner, not the manager or the players. He went on to say, we will always be grateful for last season's miracle, the entertainment that he gave them as well. He will leave us stronger than he found us. He's done really well, Danny Rohl. He took on a really, really tough job, and we're going to dig into that tomorrow when I get my guest on tomorrow in Gab Sutton, and we're going to take a look at his style of play, Danny Rohl, and what he has done at Sheffield Wednesday, because I've not maybe watched it as much as everybody else or as an EFL expert. Let's get an EFL expert on the channel and deep dive into his playing style and what he's done. But when I've watched Wednesday play, they look well organised in possession. They transition quite well. And I've got to say they attack with some real intensity. Just probably doesn't have the players. The one thing he will have at Southampton is budget. He will have budget and they'll be able to go and get in players. And I think that will be a really, really big plus. But it does look like he will potentially become the Southampton manager. But I think there'll be loads of clubs sniffing. This, if Saints want him, they'll have to get and pay the money and do it. And I'm going to give you like all the pros and cons for it very shortly, but they're going to need to do it quickly because there's going to be loads of clubs that want him. I was chatting to a Leicester fan today. They would love to get him. They're really, really keen on there's German clubs that want him as well. I put a tweet out last night on my X feed and give my thoughts on it because I'm quite excited by it. I think he's quite a good fit for us. I think he will be a good fit. He's done an outstanding job at Sheffield Wednesday. He's got them in the playoff mix thereabouts. They're on they're 8 points off it. They were well and truly in it at the start of January, or just as the window opened. They were right in it. If they brought a few players in, they would have probably done it. But Chanziri and the board there obviously didn't have the resources to do it for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know the ins and outs at Sheffield Wednesday. But he's a top-class act. There's no doubt about that. Is he the right man for Southampton Football Club? Well, I've had loads of responses to it, and a lot of people want him. A lot of people really like him. But there are some really good points as well. Kevin put, the same was said for Nathan Jones at Luton, Russell Martin at Swansea. It's just another stab in the dark. He's correct. He said, fingers crossed. He's good with young players. And yeah, I agree. It could potentially be a bit of a stab in the dark, so to speak. But it's going to be, we're not going to get a Premier League experienced manager, and we need somebody that knows the division. What are the other options? Let me know in the comments box below. Who else would you be considering it if you were the board of Southampton? Who else would you be thinking about coming in? A lot of people saying he's not had loads of managerial experience, that we need a manager that is experienced. Somebody else went on to say he's overperformed with a weak squad. He's already coached at Southampton. He's worked with the director of football, Jonas Spores, already. There's a link there. And he's working with one of our younger talents in Shay Charles. Couldn't be more of a perfect fit, said Josh. But there are other people that are questioning whether he is the right man for it. Give me your thoughts in the comments box below. I'd be interested to get your opinions, because not everybody's going to want him and think he's the right man. I think it's a bit of a gamble. All I know, in my opinion, is that when we brought Martin in, it was a similar situation. But with Martin, we needed someone to galvanise the club, to bring everybody together and get the fans believing. And we need a manager to do that. I think everyone will get behind the appointment of Rohl, so much more so than anyone did when Juric came in. Nobody was for it. Nobody wanted him to be the manager, let's be honest. And since he's come in, he's shown with Juric, he's got no personality almost, no sort of charisma. Doesn't excite me. Doesn't look like a Southampton manager. That's not a bit harsh maybe, but he's not shown it. He's not interacted with the fans enough. Maybe it's he doesn't speak the language as well as some other foreign managers do. I don't know. It's just I'm not convinced by his style of football. He doesn't have the players to play it. It just doesn't feel a good fit for me. But Rohl feels more of a fit. I think he would get fans behind him. And when I interviewed the fans and did the fan cam, when Martin was sacked after the Spurs game, I went to the Liverpool game in the EFL Cup I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday night. And I went round with the fan cam and I asked all the fans, everybody wanted Rohl. So if they bring him in, everyone's going to be behind it. And Sport Republic need everyone on board. If they want to sell season tickets, they need everyone on board. And I think the fans, all of us, need to know the vision. The owners will need to come out and give a really clear idea on where they're going to go with a new manager and what they expect and the style of football they're going to play, the calibre of player they're going to bring in. Are they going to keep going down the youth pathway, or are they going to start buying a bit of experience and giving us what we've needed for a long period of time, and that's more experienced players? But I'll be glad to see the back of this season. Be glad to see the back of Juric as well, personally. I'm not being nasty and I'm not being horrible about him. Just not for me as it worked out with him for loads of different reasons. And you can see it in the body language of the players. You can see it. You can see the way. I want to talk about a player very shortly. And I think he's been affected certainly by the change in manager from Martin to Juric. So we'll talk about some other Southampton news, but make sure you tune in tomorrow for more Danny Rohl chat when I'm joined on the channel by a very good friend of mine, Gab Sutton, the EFL expert, is going to be joining me on the channel. Other Saints news and chat, because there's been a bit today going around, and around two players that I would like to talk about. Tyler Dibling being at the top of that pile. There's been a lot of talk around Dibling, hasn't there, for weeks and weeks and weeks. We'll talk about his performances very, very shortly. But let's read out the tweet. This is the tweet, popped it on your screen. Tottenham are confident of securing Southampton's Tyler Dibling this summer, despite interest from Newcastle, Aston Villa. They've all made inquiries for the young talent. The youngster is said to be unhappy with the contract terms offered by the Saints. This is from TalkSport and their top correspondent, their chief correspondent, Alex Crook. He was on the podcast, I believe, speaking about this. I'm not surprised by the story and being linked to Spurs. I think he will end up at Spurs. A good fit in terms for Newcastle as well, but I think the distance may be an issue. But Eddie Howe, English manager, playing a really attractive football, knocking on the door of Champions League spot. They're going places, Newcastle. I've enjoyed watching Newcastle play this season. And he'd be a good fit for them, Dibling, but I think the distance may be an issue. Villa, good manager under Unai Emery, playing some good football, doing very well in the Champions League this year, pushing for it again next season. Good at working with young talent, the manager as well. But Spurs looks like it's his likely destination. Be interesting to see who their manager is next year. Southampton done a lot of business over the years with Spurs, a lot of business. And it was being reported for weeks that his dad was very, very much for this. People that I know, people I talk to, people you hear around the ground. There's people you know and you respect them and what they're saying. So let's see where he goes. Let's talk about his performances. I'm going to reacted to the speculation. I think he will go. My thoughts on his performances is he's not been the same player since the first part of the season. If you look, when he burst onto the scene against Man United and terrorised them that day, he terrorised their back four, won that penalty that we missed. But he was great on the day, wasn't he? Really good. Then the Ipswich game, he was good. He come on against Brentford, was very good second half against Brentford as an impact sub. Starts the game against Ipswich and scores. Brilliant goal. And the season looked good. Brighton and Hove Albion away stands out for me in all the performances where I thought, Tyler, you are some player who's ghosting past players like they weren't there. His best performance in the Saints shirt, for me, come down at the Amex. He got man of the match on the night they wore the pink kit, the Friday night, the controversial VAR goal that was disallowed. He was good that night. His best performance under Russell Martin. He played an inside left role that night. I thought he was brilliant. It really, really caused Brighton problems. But the Brighton fans, when I met them the other week, they were all raving about him. So how good Dibling was. But he doesn't look like the same player, does he? He doesn't look like the Dibling that we saw at the start of the season. And there's reasons why. Is it his head's been turned because there's a speculation about other clubs? It would affect him, surely, I would guess. Of course it would. But the change of manager. He had a manager that he spoke about being a father figure, that really liked him, that loved him, that got an arm around him, that believed in him, that kept trusting him. And now I think he's got a manager that questions some of the ways that he plays football. And now fans are calling him out for his work rate, that he doesn't work hard enough. I think it's a little bit harsh. He could be a little bit tired, potentially, but has he played enough games to be tired? Or is he just a bit not buying into what the manager wants from him? I don't think he's bought into the manager. And I don't think the manager's really given him what he needed. An arm around his shoulder, a manager that was going to really build the team around him. He was the bright spark of the season. And it feels like his season's whittled away. And it's really sad. I want him to go out with a high, Dibling. I really do. Because he will go. And he won't stay and play in the Championship unless he's bought and loaned back. I still don't see him being in the Championship next season. I think he's too good for it, technically too good. He needs to play in the fast pace of the Premier League. It's quick, it's punchy. You watch Championship games and it is particularly slow, and I don't think it suits him as a player personally. Play against the best players, play under the best managers, with the best players in your squad. Give yourself the best chance you can. He's 19 now, 20 next year. Kick on now, because there's players his age really kicking on and he want to kick on. There's no doubt about it, and I wish him all the best. He's a great talent. Just a shame how the season's unfolded, because he could have been our future for a period of time. He really could, and we would have been looking at watching him for us for a good few years. The fact we're going to get relegated is probably going to finish that off. Right, the last Saints story I want to bring to you this evening on Saints News is this story around Kyle Walker-Peters. West Ham United are still in for Kyle Walker-Peters, according to this report, and they will try and sign him this summer on a free transfer. He's out of contract. Newcastle United are also interested. It's the first time I've heard of Newcastle United. This was also mentioned back in January that West Ham were very keen on him, but the Newcastle United link is an interesting one, whether he want to go up there. But the fan base up there is incredible. Great English manager. A club that I enjoy watching this season. He'd be good fit wherever he goes. Good professional. But again, looking at his performance this season, playing him at left back, it's taken so much away from him. We will never see the Carl that we saw before playing at left wing back. At right back, you'll see the best Carl, in my opinion, because he's a right back that's got a right foot and likes to get forward. This system doesn't suit him, in my opinion. Somebody said to me his legs are gone the other day, and I don't think his legs are gone. I just think he looks a bit tired. He played a lot of games, and he's ready for a fresh challenge. He needs a fresh manager. There's no doubt about it. He needs something new. He needs to take his game to the next level and try and break back into that England squad. He's played for England already. Go do it again, Carl, because you're brilliant. And the great servant for our club. We are so lucky to have had him. But it's sad that we have another player like him that's going to get relegated with us, and I feel sad about that. I feel really sad. I wish he was leaving us, with us being a Premier League club. And the same with Adam Armstrong. Adam Lallana's come back. Could be his last year as a professional footballer. Gets relegated with us. The same happened with Theo. I feel a bit sad about that. Right, that's it for the show. That's it for Saints News. I've reacted to everything I wanted to react to in this show. Get involved in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts on Danny Rohl. Is he the man for you? Is he not the man for you? Tyler Dibling, Spurs or not? Where does he go for you? Would you like to see him stay? Do you think he could stay? And Kyle Walker-Peters, do you think Newcastle was a good move for him? Get involved in the comments box below. And if you're not a YouTube member, please do check out the membership here on the channel. Taking out membership will make a massive difference to the channel. Really appreciate you tuning in. Really appreciate your support. Fastest growing Southampton fan channel there is, being watched by more fans now than ever before. It's the most watched Southampton fan channel, which I'm really proud to say. Good night, and I'll see you again very soon.